गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। हरि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। The purpose of words is to create silence. The purpose of movement is to take you towards stillness. And the purpose of action is to take you to non-action. What is action and what is non-action? And how do we make this transition? This body and mind is subject to the influence of the gunas, and under its influences it cannot escape actions. Action is usually generated as the byproduct of the impression in the mind. The action which arises out of an impression has a tendency to generate more impressions, and thus more actions, and then more impressions. It is usually originating from the vrittis or the tendencies of the mind. And whatever is the strongest impulse at that point in time, that particular type of action is triggered. A non-action also may originate in the mind, but because of a loss of doership, it does not generate an impression. When you are able to distance yourself from the action and witness the action not as a doing by yourself but as a happening, that becomes a non-action. And non-actions do not generate impressions. And simple examples like you brushing your teeth, having a shower, driving to work. These actions do not generate any impressions because there is no sense of doership in them. It is just a happening. And you are easily able to witness those actions. But an action which comes impulsively, that can generate impression. Also, actions that originate in the mind and they are propelled in the absence of awareness generate impressions. But when awareness is brought into an action, the same action becomes a non-action. When you act from a point as a witness, awareness is added into that action. And same very action, say for example, you are angry at somebody, and suddenly the awareness came in. See what is happening in you. Anger is arising in you. And that very moment, the impulsive action was about to explode out of you, cools down. And then the non-action begins. Whatever is the spontaneous response in the presence of awareness, that manifests. This is wisdom in action. How do we make this transition from being very reactive to being responsive, to move from action to non-action? First of all, you will need to purify the source of action. Yoga Vasishtha says all actions originate in the mind. The body is just an instrument for the mind. It's like this: you have a car and you got a driver, and it's the job of the driver to drive you around where you want to go. But if you are sleeping and if you are not arousable in the car, the driver has to take charge. Similarly, when you give the control of your life to the driver, to the mind drives the body the way it wants. The body as such has got no will or no life either. The body is very inert. The body is tamasic. The mind is rajasic. The self is sattvic. Only when you are able to identify and associate yourself with the self, then the sattvic nature in you arises. Otherwise, the restlessness of the mind expresses itself through the body in the form of impressive actions. Impressionable actions, not impressive actions. Actions that generate impressions. So this you need to be aware. So Adi Shankara speaks about how when we live a life which is full of actions but there is no wisdom in it, then the actions do not bring you the impact that they are supposed to bring. So the first step is purify the faculties, the antahkarana. How do you do that? Through sadhana. With sadhana, what happens? The dirt is removed in the antahkarana. The refinement happens, and in that refinement, there is more clarity in the mind, and the quality of the action improves. And as the quality of action improves, you are able to distance yourself and be more established as a witness. You start with the action at the level of the body and mind and slowly transcend the body and mind into the self. And very simple example which we all are familiar with, take your Sudarshan Kriya. You start off with doing some yoga, some pranayams, and at some point the switch happens that you have moved from doing to being. You just experience yourself not as this body or breath, but just as a presence, even for a few minutes. This is the journey, this is the path, this is the purpose of sadhana, is to take you from activity to silence, from movement to stillness, from doing to non-doing. But if an action begins and ends in the mind itself, it has lost its purpose. Then it just becomes one which generates more impression, and you get stuck in a web of actions, which is what happens most of the time in our waking state. When there is no awareness, you keep on interacting, generating actions and more interactions. And you carry all those impressions with you. And there is no freedom. Yeah. So, at different levels, from the practical point of view, we have to instill wisdom in life. First, take at the individual level. At the individual level, you know that you are beyond, you are more than the body and the mind. Most people in the world identify themselves with just with the body and the mind. When you identify yourself just with the body, then you feel that when the body dies, you die. You hold on to the mortal aspect of you and you think you have got a shelf life. You begin and you end. That is why there is such a fear of death, because you think at the time of death, I am gone, I am finished. This body is finished. Death is you identifying with the body. Immortality is you rising above the body and identifying yourself with the self which is eternal. Unfortunately, this has been wrongly interpreted. When they say Mrutyoma, Amrutangamaya, it does not mean that this body will never die. People have thought how to make this body immortal, because that is where you identify yourself. Mrityorma Amrutangamaya means let me move from this finite body to this eternal self. And when you are able to associate and relate and identify yourself with the self which is beyond the mind, then you have become immortal already. Immortality is already there. When you see the body as a passing phase, as something which is changing, and you have seen it. When you are born, you were 3 kilograms or 4 kilograms, and then you became 60, 70, 80 kilograms, and then slowly you will start shrinking again and moving off. That is the body. You can't make this body immortal. Even enlightened people have to let go of the body. That is not immortality. So this wisdom at the individual level of existence, that I am not just this body and mind. I am beyond that. And remember, whenever you are in distress, whenever you are worried, whenever you are in pain, know that it is only happening at the level of body or the mind. All the distress you go through is only level of the body and the mind. And your strong identification makes you feel, oh, I am terrible, I am suffering, I am weak, I am in pain. So first level of wisdom is bring it to the level of your body. That, yes, I have a body, I have a mind, and there is a part of me, there is an existential aspect of me which is beyond the mind as well. And then whenever you act, when you become aware of the self in your action, then you are already started witnessing. The second level is the close relationships which we hold. Husband, wife, children, parents, siblings. There is a strong sense of attachment to these close relationships. Just ask yourself, how come I married this person? How come this child only came through me? How come I was born among these brothers and sisters? How come I was born to these parents? Science does not have an answer to this. Why only these people, not those people? Why only in this place and not that place? But the law of karma says, every interaction you have in life is just to clear an uncleared debt. There has been an interaction between two souls at some point in the time scale, and that interaction has created an impression, and that impression has created a merit or demerit that needs to be neutralized. You are born within this set of people, close to this set of people, either to serve them or to be served by them. And the closer you are, the more interactive you are with those people, the more is the karmic debt between those people. You know, in Kannada there is a word called Runanubandha, I don't know what it is in Hindi or in other languages, where they say you marry somebody mainly because of the debt you have with that person that you need to clarify, you need to sort it out. The same reason children are born out of you, so that you can look after them and then clear some debt. You cannot clear the debt of your parents, so you try to clear it through looking after the children. So similar, it's quite complex, not as simple as this. But know that wisdom is knowing that these people all around me are just part of a karmic, transactional, interactional web of life. You know, you go to work and there is somebody next to you in your next door or in the chair next to you, somebody sits in front of you. You help each other, sometimes you get help, sometimes you help others. You make sure you work as a team, you make sure everything goes well. But you are not attached to any of them. You see, you are able to let go and move on. But when they need something, you are there for them. When you are needed, they will also help you out. There is a interdependence there, but without attachment. And if we can bring the same thing within the so-called close circle, an interdependence, a sense of serving people and helping them out, doing the best you could do, but without holding on to them, without clinging on to them, that is wisdom in close relationships. You know, some people say, oh, if I do that, my love for the people will come down. No, actually, you will be able to express the same amount of love to many more people now. Now your love, which was only fixed on 1, 2, 3 people, you are able to expand it to so many more people. If you look at somebody like Gurudev, he may not have a wife or children of his own, but does it in any way impair his ability to love people? In fact, it is even more expansive. You can include everybody in that. Do you see? It in no way diminishes the love for these people who are close to you, but in fact, it will give you a possibility to love everybody to the same extent. You feel everybody's pain and you are concerned about everybody. At the same time, you feel pride in everybody's success. Do you see? Otherwise, you get stuck in small little things. Do you see? My wife, my son, my daughter. Serve them. Be served by them. Do whatever you have to do. But as a trustee, as somebody who has got the privilege to look after them, the responsibility to look after them, to do something nice for them, do all that you want to do. But have this sense of non-attachment. Have this sense of my privilege to be to you, be of help to you. I am here available to you. I am here to do whatever I can do to keep you happy and healthy. But that's where it stops. And I have got zero expectations from you. You may not even acknowledge my contribution, it does not matter. That is none of my business. But all the problems and relationships, especially closed ones, comes not because of what they do, but because of your expectation of what they should be doing. Do you see? There are people on the road walking around, they don't even acknowledge or recognize you. You don't care. But somebody in your very house does not smile at you, becomes indifferent to you, look how much it hurts you. So if you can get to this state of, I am here for you, it's entirely up to you how you deal with me. Then that brings a big relief. This is wisdom in relationships. Being available, being ready to give, at the same time staying non-attached. That's a true sannyasi for whom the whole world belongs to him, but he possesses nothing. No parigraha, aparigraha. He does not hold anything, but he does not withhold anything also. And then, what are other type of astrology? There is such a strong hold of astrology. Does astrology impact your life? Yes, it does. Everything in this material universe affects everything else in the material universe. In small way or big way. Butterfly effect it is called. Everything impacts everything else. The bigger the object, the more its impact on. So the impact of things like the sun, the moon, the planets, the stars, they are quite significant because compared to you, they are quite significantly big and effective. Again, however, their impact is only at the level of the body and mind, not beyond that. That is why if you are meditating regularly, some of the astrologers will refuse to read your chart or make predictions for you. Why? Because the Guru overrules all the planets. When you are under the influence of the Guru, in the sphere of the Guru, then nothing else. In the Guru Mandala, no planet can touch you. Even if it touches, the impact is very minimal. So don't get stuck in this web of astrology. Oh, this planet is doing this, that planet have to do this, have to do that. Even very intelligent people get stuck in this. And try to get out of it by trying to do so many things. The key is in your hand. Just meditate. That is good enough. That will take away all these impacts. Instead of trying to do all these elaborate methods. You are sitting in your lounge and you say, I am hungry. I have not eaten for a few hours. All you have to do is get up and walk to the kitchen. But you are not making that effort and you are telling, I am hungry, look, my life. And you are blaming people and things for your situation. And then you call somebody else who is also sitting in the lounge and is hungry. And he will say, oh, did you try this? Call this Uber Eats, call this hungry station, they'll bring the food to you. So when the food comes, you open the door and take the, now I have got the food. This is all the upayas the astrologers give you. Nobody asks you to sit and meditate. They say, go to that temple in that city, go and do this puja, this thing, that thing. All you have to do is get up and walk to the kitchen. Close your eyes and meditate, and all these impacts will be nullified. The impact will come down so significantly. It's good to know astrology a little bit because it gives you an idea of what phase you are going through. Our energy levels keep varying. There are some days when you are not that very disciplined, and maybe your mind will take over. Maybe the owner of the car is dozing, so the driver has taken over. At those times, you will need some support. So when you know that, okay, this phase is happening in my life. Like for example, I am going through the Sade Sati now. It means what? Things don't come easily to you. You have to work hard for everything. Things happen very slowly. Results don't come very quickly. And as long as you are aware of this, when some things don't happen very quickly, then you know that this is some phase I am going through. That's it. Instead of trying to break through that, do this, do that, you say, okay, I can tolerate this, I can move through this. It gives you a roadmap of how your life may be at the level of the body and mind, and you get some insight as to how I can deal with it. And just leave it at that. That is all should be your focus, if at all have a focus on that. In fact, I would say even drop the focus on that. Just meditate, that is good enough. That will take away all the impressions, all the impact of all these so-called planets and all these things. And then rituals. Adi Shankar also speaks about the various rituals we engage in. Rituals without being in wisdom. See, what is a ritual? A ritual is a specifically designed action or activity to produce a particular energy field that will help you to transcend the mind. Adi Shankara himself has designed various rituals. He has installed various Sri Chakras and in other places. That is an energy field, the Mandala Puja and all those things. He has himself prescribed. But ritual is an inferior type of action. He himself has said the highest ritual is meditation. If you are unable to meditate and if you have not got that skill to let go, then ritual is a stepping stone. It is like a float you use when you are learning swimming. You can't be swimming all the time with your float. Once you know how to swim, just let go of the float. And some of these rituals are so powerful. Say for example, like Rudram, when you do, the moment the chanting begins, slowly it transcends you, takes you towards more and more silence. And that should be the purpose, to get into the ritual so that you transcend the ritual, the action part of it. Unfortunately, most rituals are just doing and doing and doing. There is no scope for just moving into silence there. Before the COVID, in Riyadh, there was a group where they used to do Rudrabhishekam every Monday. There was a very group, dedicated people, very scholarly people. And I used to go there, and there would be about 20, 25 people or 30 people, and most of them would be chanting. They all knew the chant, they would chant, and they would create such a energy field that within 10-15 minutes I would be able to slip into meditation easily. It was so powerful. But invariably at some point during the session, somebody would either pull my clothes or poke me and wake me up. Why? It's your turn to go and pour milk there. Because everybody sitting in the room would get a chance to go and pour milk or water on that deity, and that was part of it. So you wanted to tick all the boxes, and then even if somebody was meditating, they would not hesitate to pull you out and say, go and do that. So we get stuck in action, not realizing that the purpose of this is to transcend the action. Do you see this? So once again, these are all not people who are these are extremely intelligent people, holding very good positions, but still stuck in the activity part of it. Action, action, action. The highest ritual is meditation. Rise above the ritual. If you cannot meditate, use the ritual to transcend into that state through the chants, through the mantras, through the steps of the ritual. But don't get stuck in the ritual. I have seen people forsake meditation for rituals, which is stupidity, which is ignorance. Even today, you see, if you want to get people to meditate, it is very difficult. When I was in the UK, when I was doing Rudra Puja regularly, I used to get more invitations to do Rudra Pujas in people's houses than to come for meditation. I had to slowly wean off myself of it and say, so I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it anymore. Because it was becoming a craze. And people were wanted to do pujas in their house, but they were not that keen to meditate. You would get big crowds for the pujas, but very few people interested in meditating. So this is ignorance again. This is action without wisdom in it. Yeah. So bear in mind this. The purpose of action is to take you towards silence, towards non-action, and inculcate wisdom in your life in your personal understanding of your existence, in your close relationships, in the understanding and use of things like astrology, and especially your indulgence in rituals. You see, with this awareness, when you act, there is a good conservation and utilization of the energy you have. You see what I mean? Okay, so now let's look into some of the shlokas. And see, rituals are just a playful expression of the divinity which is you are. When your children, you played like, I am a doctor, you are a patient, I am daddy, you are mommy, this is my child, sort of a thing. You played those games with all sincerity and interest, but you didn't get stuck with those games. You grew above them. Similarly, the rituals are just like a play. You may ask, why do the enlightened also do rituals? Why do the wise? Because it's like a game. It brings variety. That's so nice to arrange everything, decorate everything. It brings up that creative aspect in you. But you should limit it so it's not something very serious. You see what I mean? And it's all like this game of Monopoly you play, In the Monopoly game, or what you call business game, you got fake money. You buy so many plots, you build houses, you sometimes go to jail also. But that is not real. That is just a play. And having this wisdom that whatever is happening with the level of the body and mind is just this play. At one point I can close them and move on. That is wisdom in action, wisdom in life. Jatilo mundi lunchita keshaha kashayambara bahukruta veshaha pashyanna pichana pashyati moodaha udara nimittam bahukruta veshaha. So he is commenting about the life he is seeing around. He is speaking in Kashi, and there are a lot of people who are dressed as sannyasis, as sadhus, moving around. And then he is saying, if you are wanting to become a sannyasi, then you should be authentic in it. Be sincere in whatever you do. Just an appearance of a renunciate or a spiritualist does not give you any result. If you are not making progress, be honest that you are not making progress. That will give you some impetus to seek advice and help and do it. But if you are holding on to these roles just so that you can get some respect, just so that you can get some money, some food to eat, and so that you can get through your life, if it's just one of the roles you are playing to feed your tummy, then you are getting nowhere. So sincerity is called arjo. It's very important to be sincere. Only when somebody is sincere, they can progress. Sometimes when you go to your room, the child was supposed to sleep, but they are playing on the mobile. The moment they know you are coming, they keep the mobile aside and act as if they are sleeping. For somebody who is acting, you can't correct them. Somebody who is pretending that they are actually sleeping, there is nothing you can do about them. But when somebody cannot sleep, then actually you can find a way to get them to sleep. You see, so being sincere. It is either you may have lot of hair which are tied into locks, or you may have shaved your head. You may be wearing white or saffron, does not matter. Jatilo mundi lunchita keshaha kashayambara bahukruta veshaha. You may wear all these sorts of fancy dresses. Pashyanna pichana pashyati moodaha. You can deceive everybody, but you know you are being deceptive. By pretending to sleep, you can deceive somebody or come into the room, but you know you are not asleep. Fool, you know that you are deceiving and still you are acting as if you don't see anything. Udara nimittam bahukruta veshya. Just for the sake of filling your stomach, getting through to a living, people are living so insincerely, not living authentically. And also, we have this way of using logic and circumstances to our own convenience. You know that you are using logic in a very crooked way. A few years ago, I was just talking to one of my friends to get into yoga. He was talking about stress. I was, no, you should do yoga. This is very helpful. I was trying to pressurize him a little bit to get into it. And he said, no, there is no evidence for any of this that it will work. Show me one paper which shows that these things, yoga works, meditation works. And I said, yes, there is not much evidence in the way you are asking it. Because people have not done much work in that field. Science has not trusted this to go more into this area to provide evidence. But absence of proof does not mean proof of absence. It does not mean does not work. It does work. Why don't you try it? And then I said, look, every time you go to India, you go to Tirupati, right? You make it a point, you always go to Tirupati. Yes. Give me one piece of evidence to show that God is in Tirupati. Give me one paper, show me one paper which proves conclusively that God is there in Tirupati. Or show me one paper which says God is there in Tirupati but not in United Kingdom, but not in your house, but not in Bangalore. Show me one piece of evidence. And he said, look, there must be something. That's why so many people are going. That is not evidence. Just because so many people are going, you can't take it as evidence. So this is how the mind works. And he is a doctor. So this is what we do. We use logic to our own convenience. And one area to not to do something, you use that logic. On another area where you do something which is very ignorant and stupid also, from an objective point of view, you defend yourself. Do you see this? So this is living a very hypocritical life. You are not sincere to yourself. You should be open to, yes, what you are saying is right, isn't it? There is no evidence actually, it's only my belief system. I only believe it is like that. That is all it is. How many people can put their hands up and say, today God answered my prayers and replied back to me? You won't say that. If something happens, you say, oh, my prayers have been answered. If something does not happen, you say, it is my destiny, and you move on. You see how conveniently we switch sides? You say God works in mysterious ways. You never say that to your husband or your wife or your boss. I put my request to my boss. He works in mysterious ways. If what you want does not happen, you go and put up, and why did this not happen? But the God which is imaginary in your mind is a belief system for you. Oh, he works in mysterious ways. This is ignorance. Do you see this? Yeah? So, stop this hypocrisy. Be open. Acknowledge. If you are going to go the scientific way, logical way, look everything in that way. Or if you are going to go on the faith way, have faith in everything. Don't do half here, half there. You are going to go nowhere. Angam galitam palitam mundam dashana vihinam jatam tundam vruddho yati gruhitva dandam tadapi namunchati asha pindam. We all want to be happy. But where do we seek that happiness? We seek the happiness in the world, in people, in pleasures. You get some happiness, but that vanishes very quickly. But then you keep on running back to the world to give you more and more happiness. And in seeking this happiness, in running behind desires one after another, what has happened? Angam galitam palitam mundam. Your body has become weak. The hair has all gone grey. Dashana vihinam jatam tundam. Your mouth has become hollow and empty. All the teeth have gone. Vruddho yati gruhitva dandam. You have become so old, you need a stick to walk around. Tadapina munchati asha pindam. Even now you are not letting go of desires. Even now you have got desires. You are chasing desires from your child. In your child you were desirous of toys. As you grew old, you wanted people around you, friends. And then you grew older, then you wanted a companion, you wanted money, you wanted holidays, you wanted power. Now everything you have gone through, now the body has got nothing. It can't enjoy toys, neither it can speak to friends, nor it can sustain a companion, nor it can exercise any power. But even now, you are not letting go of your desires. Not being able to let go of the craving or desires is lack of dispassion. Lack of viveka brings lack of dispassion. You are going to kick the bucket soon. Let go. Let things be the way they are. You focus on something else. You focus on something which is higher. In this limited time which you have got, see how none of the desires have taken you anywhere. And learn to drop the desire. Knowing that this world is not going to give you anything more than what it has already given you, let go. See, the desire is what you don't have. Seeing joy in that is desire, isn't it? That is the tendency of the mind. You have so many things, but you don't have one thing, then you say, I want this. Only then I will be happy. If you don't have children, that is the only problem for you. Oh, I don't have a child. I don't have a child. People go through such lengths to have a child. And look at all the people who have got children. One after the other problems. For those who don't have children, only not having children is the only problem. That's the one problem. And people who have children, my God, he is not healthy, he is not studying well, he is not settled down, he is not married. Look at this. Do you see this? Where is the wisdom? Look at life. Open your eyes, my dear. Look at this. What are you worrying about? What are your desires about? Something which you don't have in you. And I tell you, if you have that, you won't go to get anywhere. You will find something else which is not there, and then you will run behind it. It will only tire you again and again and again. So wake up, wake up. Time is slipping by. Time is slipping by. When you realize that the world will never give me joy or contentment, that is wisdom. Then you stop depending on the world. That does not mean you stop enjoying the world. No, no, no. You stop depending on the world for joy. You have something, you enjoy it. You don't have something, you are okay with it. You move on. Agre vahnihi prushte bhanuhu ratrau chubuka samarpita januhu karatala bhiksha tarutala vasaha tadapina munchati asha pashaha. And he's saying it's not just the worldly person, it's not a grihastha who is behind desires, even the so-called spiritual person also. In fact, his desires are much bigger. This man wants some money, some power, one vehicle, one holiday. This man wants to own God himself. This man wants enlightenment, recognition, respectability. People should listen to him, bow down to him. Says, he describes a renunciate, a so-called renunciate, agre vahnihi prushte banuhu. He has given up all possessions. He keeps his body warm. His back is kept warm by the sun. His front of this body is kept warm by the fire in front of which he is sitting. Ratrau chubuka samarpita. He has got nothing. He's got nothing to cover himself in the night. He curls himself and sleeps to keep himself warm. Karatala bhiksha tarutala vasaha. He begs from his hand. He's not even got a plate to eat and eats from whatever he gets in his hand, and he sleeps under the tree. So the so-called renunciate, even he has not let go of the world. Even in him, the desires are still hanging on. You may run away from the world, but you can't run away from the mind. You are carrying your mind wherever you go. And your world is your mind in the first place. And if you are unable to transcend the mind, let the mind settle down, then wherever you go, whether you go to the Himalayas or in isolation, you will not escape the world. And as long as there is world in you, so long as the desires will be there in you. And as long as the desires are there, there is a tendency to act. And as long as there is tendency to act with the intention to fulfill your desire, that will generate impressions. And then as long as you are stuck in the impressions, there is no freedom. Kurute Ganga Sagaragamanam Vrataparipalanam Athava Danam Gnanavihinaha Sarvamatena Muktim na bhavati Janmashatena. You can go to all the pilgrim centers along the banks of Ganga. You can go to Kedarnath, Badrinath. You can go to Uttarkashi. You can go to Kashi. You can go to Prayag. Vrata Paripalana Matama Dhanam. You can do all sorts of rituals or engage in all sorts of charity. Gnana Vihinaha Sarva Mate. Once, if there is no wisdom in what you are doing, if you don't know why you are doing what you are doing, Sarva Mate, whatever method you adopt, whatever you do, Muktim na bhavati Janmashatena. Even in 100 or 1,000 lifetimes, you will never be free. He's saying all this is useless. With wisdom, even watching television is useful. When you do a conscious action, whatever you do is irrespective. Just being consciously doing something itself is a big achievement. But unconsciously, even climbing the Himalayas will take you nowhere. Not just now, even 100 lifetimes it will take you nowhere. So it's very important to move towards knowledge, move towards wisdom. Not just mundane actions. Empty actions will not take you anywhere. So knowledge of the self is very important. Suramandira-taru Moola-nivasaha Shayya-bhutalam Ajinam-vasaha Sarva-parigraha Bhogatyagaha Sarva-parigraha Bhogatyagaha Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. A true feature of a dispassionate person is aparigraha, not hoarding anything, dropping all the possessions. When you have dropped all the possessions, whatever is available, you are happy with it. That is why a sannyasi is also called as Jangama. Jangama means that which is mobile. So one of the rules of a monk's life is not to stay in one place. The moment you stay in one place for long, then you start developing me, mine, all these things. That is why a sannyasi is told you have to move from place to place. Exactly opposite of Grihastha. Grihastha want to stay in one place all the time. Oh, I want to settle down. What is settling down? Anchoring in one place, that's all. The moment you anchor in one place, then everything comes my house, my car, my money, my family. And you become exclusive. Then the one next to yours is not, that is not my house, not my car, not my family. And your world becomes so small and limited. Do you see this? So a real renunciate does not hold anything as mine, but he acknowledges everything as his. He serves everybody. He owns everything. Have you, Gurudev, one of the talk says, have you ever said this sun, moon, stars are all mine? This world is mine, the sky is mine, the planets are mine. But you say, no. This cycle is mine, this car is mine. These 4 walls are mine. That's where you limit yourself. So a real sannyasi is one who does not hold small little things but takes the ownership of everything. And when you are able to let go of small things, when you are able to let go of the stones in your hand, you can hold the entire sky in your palm. Otherwise, you are just holding tightly in your fist the stones which will hurt your hand. Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. This is the real dispassion, the ability to let go of small things. When you let go of small things, the big things automatically become yours. Do you see what I am saying? Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. The real dispassion, when it arises in you, what joy is lacking in your life? Because everything is yours. The world is yours. So you don't feel hesitancy to ask what you want and to be with whatever is offered to you. Do you see? Otherwise, you feel, so I'm only I need to come to and sleep in my own bed. I'm comfortable in my house. You go on a holiday and then you want to come back to your house. You want to come back to that set of people with whom you are used to. It is just your comfort zone which your body and mind like, that's all. Do you see? There is no inclusiveness. That's why people are very afraid to change jobs, to change countries, to change people around. Because what? They are rooted in that security and comfort. That is raga. Attachment to the viraga is what? I am not attached to anything. What do I need? Wherever I go, I need some food to eat. I need a place to rest. I need some people to whom I can serve. That I will find anywhere in the world. If you have this sort of attitude, then what joy are you missing? Do you see this? Kasya sukham na karoti virag. I travel so frequently. I go to so many places. And every time I travel, there is a different set of people with me. One trip I go, there is my wife and my son is there. Another trip I go, there are a few people from Riyadh. Another trip I go, there are a few people from India. Every trip I go, every place I go, there is always a different set of people. And I always feel comfortable with everybody. I don't say if I had been with that person, it would have been nice. Otherwise, what happens? You move along with the same people to the same places. And then what? Have the same arguments. Have the same headaches. Do you see this? So, let go of this. Only things should be like this, like that. Move around and serve anybody who comes in your way. Feel free. Say, offer yourself and say, I'm here. And then you will see life is so rewarding. Yogarato va, bhogarato va, sangarato va, sangavihinaha, yasya brahmani ramate chittam, nandati 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 eva, bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam, mudhamate. Now he elaborates more on a real dispassionate, a real vairagi. A real vairagya does not mean you are against the world. Vairagya is wrongly understood as being very, morose, keeping a long face, not wearing proper clothes, torturing this body and mind, fasting, not eating tasty food. This is not vairagya. This is fear. Oh, if I eat tasty food, I get addicted to it. If I meet people, I become used to them. This is lack of conviction in knowledge. This is fear. And this will only work for a little while, that's all. When you are fasting, the body has to reorganize the prana or energy in it. So, for those few hours or when you are fasting, you will feel that there is no craving in you. There is no anger in you. It is just that the body is a little weak. And the intelligence in the body is redistributing the prana only to vital things. And the moment you break your fast and have a nice meal, you see all those things will come back to you. All that anger, everything will come and everything will kickstart. Do you see? Don't think you have attained something. Only in that state of discipline, things for it. Similarly, you come to an silence program for 3 days, you're very disciplined. Everything appears fantastic. The moment you break that discipline and go back, you're back to square one. So here he is saying dispassion is not resisting. Dispassion is happily accepting this way or that way. Yoga ratova, bhoga ratova. It does not matter whether you are doing yoga and doing austerities or doing your meditations and yoga and being in silence, or you are indulging in a party with people. It does not matter. Sangha ratova sangha vihinaha. You might be alone in your house or in your room or wherever, or you may be in the crowd in a party with hundreds of people. It does not matter. Yasya brahmani ramate chittam. Once you can see that one principle in everything, once you are able to see that everything is a play of the divine. Somebody is angry at you, you say, look, divine is angry at me. Somebody is loving and caring and looking after you, you say, look how divine is serving me here. If you are able to have this attitude, whether you are on your own, whether you are with people, whether there is pleasure or pain, you will say it is all prasada and move around. It's all grace. I have to move through this in this life at this point, that is okay. Moving through life without resisting the opposites, that is vairagya. You have bhoga offer, somebody offers you nice food, enjoy it, have it. But don't go looking for it the next day in their house. then it has become a raga. Last time I came to their house, they offered me so many things. Today, they're not even asking me anything. That is not vairagya. When something is offered, have it, enjoy it. But don't crave for it. Absence of craving is vairagya, not absence of pleasure. Whatever the world has to offer it, take it. When it is available, have it. When it is not available, don't even think about it, move on. That is vairagya. And here he says that is a real renunciate, whether there is yoga or bhoga, whether he is alone or with people. Because he is able to see the divinity everywhere. Nandati, nandati, nandati eva. The wise people, they only say things once. Here Adi Shankara is telling 3 times. Nandati means he rejoices. That means he is in this unending bliss. Nandati, nandati, nandati eva. When you are able to have this equanimity in life, that what? A pleasure, what is life? Little pleasure, little pain. Nothing is not going to last forever. Even pleasure won't last, even pain won't last. Does not matter. When there is pleasure, I will enjoy it. When there is pain, I will forbear it. That is a real vairagya. When that attitude comes to you in life, when people praise you, bask in the glory. When people shout at you, talk ill about you, say that's also okay. Move on in life without giving too much importance to the happenings in events and around you. That is real vairagya. When that vairagya, what happens? You become unshakable. The world cannot shake you. The world cannot taint you. That is the real asangoham. I am untouched by all the things that are moving through. And when you are untouched by the people and events, what is touching you? The self. You are in the company of the self. And what is it? Nothing but bliss. Nandati, nandati, nandati eva. He rejoices like anything in life. Okay? So let's continue our rejoicing, and we will come back next week for a little bit more wisdom. Very blessed. We are all very blessed. Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, Sarve santu niramaya, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhat bhave. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहे मुरारे कृपया पारे पाहे मुरारे भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम।